everyone! As we all know, there are thousands of diets out there when we think about losing weight. Paleo, keto, raw food diet, just to name a few. But have you heard of the blood type diet? Neither did I, so I'm going to teach you. Basically, the definition of the blood type diet is contained in its name. It's a diet that's completely contingent on your blood type. Huh? Let's look at the history, shall we? According to Watson 2020, in 1996, Dr. Peter D'Adamo, a doctor of naturopathy, actually based these unique diets off the disparate chemical reactions of different blood types with food. So D'Adamo was adamant on the notion that blood types reflected diets that our ancestors actually evolved on, meaning there were certain foods that different blood types thrived more on. Weird, right? So the blood type diet doesn't actually base itself around any sort of calorie counting whatsoever. Rather, it more so focuses on portions and the types of food that you'll be eating. This can obviously vary according to gender, weight, and another multitude of factors. Hammond 2013. So let's see what our ancestors actually ate. I'm kind of interested, aren't you?
Blood type O's were the first of the ancestors, essentially cavemen that only knew how to hunt meat. They're also referred to as the hunter, which requires a rich in protein diet such as fish, chicken, meat, fruits, and vegetables. However, legumes and dairy should not be consumed. After blood type O came blood type A, known as the cultivator, and is expected to have a purely vegetarian-based diet, which is filled with vegetables, tofu, nuts, seeds, grains, and fruits, but no red meat, seafood, poultry, dairy, oils, which are all actually considered as toxic for type A. Now, type B was known as the nomad and should eat meat, however, no chicken or pork. They can have plants and dairy, but no tomatoes, corn, and wheat should be consumed. Type B ancestors were responsible for herding and gathering animals, hence they moved around quite a lot, but not as much as type O. Type AB, also known as the enigma, is a combination of type A and B, thus they can eat dairy, beans, any seafood, and grains, but beef, chicken, corn, and kidney beans should be avoided.
Alrighty, that's enough talk about food. Let's focus on the physical activity component of the blood type diet. Now, as a blood type O person, I will be consuming a heavily protein-based kind of diet. This means I will definitely have more energy. Hence, my recommended physical activities will be weights or running on the treadmill, very intense cardio. Whatever consumes a lot of energy is suitable for this blood type. Whereas blood type A highly vegetarian diet, would be more low intense activities such as yoga or Tai Chi, which is just a martial arts kind of activity. Now, type B is kind of in the middle. We've got activities such as cycling, tennis, walking. They're all considered moderate level activities. And type AB, lucky last, will be a combination of A and B. So we've got cycling, yoga, Tai Chi, and walking, which will all be effective activities for this blood type. And physical activity at the end of the day helps facilitate the effects of the diet. Because the blood type diet is so specific, people might find it harder to shop for as we require more raw foods rather than processed foods. It might be harder to obtain the right nutrients. For example, type A is a highly vegetarian diet, so you may have to resort to some supplements, and it doesn't allow any room for personal preference. For example, if I'm type O and I don't like meat, well, I'm kind of screwed, aren't I?
Let's have a closer look at how food actually gets processed in our bodies. Basically, everything we consume can be classified in three major classes: proteins, carbohydrates, and fat. Whenever you eat food, it goes on one heck of an adventure to actually be of benefit to you. When food enters the mouth, as you chew, saliva not only lubricates the food but releases enzymes that kickstart chemical digestion. This pile of mush called the bolus is pushed down the esophagus by the contracting of muscles known as peristalsis and arrives into the stomach. Now this is where the fun stuff happens. The bolus is churned in the acidic environment of the stomach. This breaks down the food even more, and the acidity kills off any harmful microorganisms and is moved to the small intestine as chyme. Now right before this, the pancreas secretes sodium bicarbonate, which is basic enough to neutralize the chyme, and bile is also added to help digest fats. So now absorption can begin. Thousands of microvilli work their magic and absorb about 90% of important nutrients and shoot them into your bloodstream to deliver them to any cells requiring energy. What's left passes through the large intestine where mainly water, minerals, and vitamins are absorbed, and anything that was missed by the small intestine, leaving just waste to be excreted. But what happens when we have extra energy? Well, if there's extra glucose, that gets stored as glycogen. But what if this gets full? The excess glucose now would turn into fat by the liver and be stored in adipocytes. Same story for too much protein. It will also be stored in adipocytes as fat, and obviously excess fat will be stored in adipocytes. The whole purpose of the blood type diet is to help people with different blood types digest food more efficiently and ultimately lead to weight loss. There would definitely be a difference in metabolizing, say, a vegetable and a piece of meat. Since meat contains a lot of protein, which is far more complex than vegetables, it would take a lot longer to digest, whilst vegetables would pass through your system quite quickly due to the high fiber. Another possible source of some weight loss with this diet is because it can be very restrictive by not allowing you to eat any processed foods or any simple carbohydrates. And at the end of the day, excess of any macronutrient will eventually be stored as fat.
There is no actual scientific evidence that connects blood types with different digestion patterns. Even if the blood type diet is a weight loss method, it hasn't been proven to be effective yet, and it doesn't even take into consideration any chronic illnesses such as diabetes, which could actually be worsened by the diet. In 2013, a study was conducted of rigorous medical and scientific databases which failed to validate any health benefits to the blood type diet and hence can only be labeled as a theoretical diet. Now, another proposed health benefit of the blood type diet by D'Adamo was the prevention of certain diseases, such as cardiovascular disease and cancer. I didn't really believe it either. So, in a 2014 study conducted over a 6-month period of overweight adults and cardiometabolic factors were analyzed. These were measured through factors such as waist circumference, weight, BMI, cholesterol, blood pressure, etc. And what was concluded was that yes, there were health benefits to the blood type diet. However, they were completely independent of blood type, hence once again reiterating that the blood type diet is not validated by science. Now, one of the many side effects to the blood type diet would actually be certain deficiencies and lack of vitamins. Now, for example, let's look at blood type A. Because their diet is mainly plant-based, they have no access to meat. Now, red meat readily absorbs iron far better than plants. So a type A person would most likely have a deficiency in iron. Now, this could be potentially bad as it leads to fatigue and lack of energy and should be compensated through supplements, which, a lot of people may not like. So what have we learned? The blood type diet is a theoretical diet that hasn't even been validated by science. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Would you pick the blood type diet to lose weight?